Hey there, everybody. My name is Dr. Michael Bryan. I'm here with Integral Wellness Company. I want to personally welcome you to today's presentation on the Foundation Protocol. So, whether you've been dealing with fatigue, gut issues, or you're just ready to take your health to the next level, you're in the right place. So, who am I? Like I said, my name is Dr. Michael Bryan. You can see there in that photo, that's my beautiful wife, Sarah Lynn. To the right, you see my two sons, Trace and Zane, and they are my pride and joy. When we look at what we're going to talk about today, in the next few minutes, we're going to be talking about a powerful step-by-step system that we use in our clinic to help people heal from the ground up. This is not just another detox. This is going to be about restoring energy, clearing pathways, supporting your gut, and removing deep toxins. We're going to do that in a safe, effective, and a lasting way. So let's go ahead and dive on in. By the end of the presentation, you're going to understand why the Foundation Protocol works as well as what it does, who it's for, and how to take your health to the next level. So, what are common things that we see patients for, and why do we use this protocol? Well, oftentimes symptoms like brain fog, digestive issues, chronic symptoms, low energy. In our area, we were recently hit with Hurricane Helene, and so we had a lot of flooding, and so mold and mycotoxins became a big thing. We have a lot of patients that come in on social media. They talk about doing a parasite cleanse or heavy metal cleansing, and we can achieve those things through the Foundation Protocol too. And so the importance of the protocol is there's an order to it. And so following an order is critical to success. Detox is only going to work well when the drainage pathways are open. So that's step number one. Without proper drainage, detox symptoms oftentimes occur. So instead of moving in a positive direction, oftentimes we're left with more symptoms, more fatigue. We have these crashes as opposed to moving in the right direction and gaining energy. We move in a negative direction. In the literature, we call this the Herxheimer reaction. And so when we follow an order, we have less of that Herxheimer reaction. And so this is all about following a tried and true system so we can move effectively, efficiently, and safely at the end of the day. What's the secret sauce behind CellCore's Foundation Protocol? And that's going to be the bioactive carbons. Now, these are really smart carbon-based molecules that not only bind and remove toxins, but they're also going to support our energy, our repair of the cellular processes. And so traditional binders work to remove things from our gut. The bioactive carbons, they're going to get deep into the cell and they're going to boost mitochondrial function. They're going to boost cellular energy, and that's going to make detox safer, deeper, and more effective at the end of the day. So let's talk about some of the advanced toxin binding with bioactive carbons and what makes that different from traditional options like charcoal or clay or zeolites or pectins and fruit and things like that. The difference is this is going to be a smart binding process. And so it's going to be able to distinguish more friend from foe. The problem with a lot of those other binders that we mentioned is they're non-selective. What does that mean? It means that they're going to bind to a little bit of everything. So you got to be very selective in when we take those binders. So taking them around food is never a good option because they're going to bind to the nutrients in our food. With these bioactive carbons, they're a lot more selective, so they're not going to be binding to those nutrients in the food. The second thing is the size of these molecules. When we look at traditional binders, they are larger chain molecules, and so they predominantly just sit in the gut and remove things from our gut. The bioactive carbons, they're small, medium, and large chain, so they're going to be able to work on the gut. They're going to be able to penetrate deeper all the way to the cellular level to start removing toxins from the cell, which is where we got to be at the end of the day. We've oftentimes heard it said, fix the cell and get well. Well, if we can't get those nutrients, if we can't get those binders into the cell, what good is it doing, right? So one of the cool things that we can see with the Foundation Protocol is we're going to get brain penetration. One of the things that we see a lot is neuroinflammatory conditions. And oftentimes that inflammation gets a bad reputation. Well, we've got to realize that that inflammation is there for a reason. Oftentimes, because we've got foreign invaders, we've got heavy metals in the brain or in organs that they're not supposed to be, and that inflammatory process is flared up because of that. So we use these bioactive carbons to penetrate that blood-brain barrier to then be able to remove those toxins effectively and efficiently to support the neurological process of detoxification and to enhance cognitive function and mental clarity. Now, one of the things that we mentioned earlier, and this is a really big point, is the bioactive carbons not only detoxify, but they boost cellular repair. That's a huge deal. Traditional binders don't do that. We've got to get nutrition into the cells to fix the cells. So we get those nutrition in and we get the binders in as well so we can upregulate those processes and remove the foreign invaders, remove the heavy metals, the molecules that are in there that are not supposed to be. Let's get those out. Traditional detoxification is not going to be able to achieve this. Earlier we mentioned who that's for. I'm going to quickly go. You can see right here, some patients that we would treat with a foundation protocol. So if you've got some of these symptoms or other similar symptoms like this, the foundation protocol is most likely going to be a great fit for you. Now, I want to share the really cool story that impacted my life when we first started using this foundation protocol. I want to introduce you to my grandparents here. On the left, you see my grandpa. We call him Pop. On the right, you see my grandmother, and he was diagnosed several years back with melanoma. He went the traditional, treatment options to treat this. They used immunotherapy, so they upregulate his immune system to try to go after that melanoma, use his own body's mechanisms to try to kill it, that kind of thing. Well, he went that traditional route, and at the end of that treatment, for the next several years, his blood work remained still out of balance. He never had blood work after his treatment that was ever 100% normal or 100% within normal limits. And so we decided to use the foundation protocol to see how that would work and how that would help his cells get healthier, help remove some of the junk that was inside of his body to begin with. And so I've got his blood work here. And I'll kind of contrast some of this. This is just about 15 months worth of blood work. Keep in mind we had several years, but I want to keep this relatively simple. If you look, you can see the dates up there at the top. Again, about 15 months worth of blood work. The dates at the top, the numbers in red, those are the values that are outside of normal limits. So we incorporated the foundation protocol at that 6/25 date there. So we got that blood work, and after we got the blood work, we started with the foundation protocol. So you can see that the next blood work that I've got highlighted in yellow there, every single value was within normal limits of after introducing the foundation protocol. We continued after that into April, May of the next year, and we can see that the majority of those numbers are black, meaning they're within normal limits, except for one. But the number that's there in red, the majority of tests actually would consider that normal. Most values in that hematocrit actually go up to 54. So in a lot of ways, that's still within normal limits. But what's really, really cool is we introduced that basically a year prior, and we can see that he's moving in that positive direction. Was 8 months after he finished with the CellCore Foundation protocol. And so not only in that moment did his blood work continue to get better and for the first time in years actually be normal with everything, but he continued that process after he got done doing that protocol. And so when we can remove the junk from the body can continue to heal, recover, and take care of you. We believe that the body was designed to heal. So we need less interference. We need less junk in the body. We can remove that. The body can operate and recover and function normally. So let's go ahead and take a look at this roadmap real quick. We're going to zoom in here to phase one. Phase one is arguably the most important. And the reason that it's the most important is because this is where we're setting up our foundation. We know that if we're going to build a big structure that's going to last for a really long time, we've got to make sure that the foundation is well designed. And so this is where it starts. So we're going to upregulate the energy process, and we're going to work on opening up those drainage pathways. This is going to prepare the body for those later phases to be able to work effectively, safely, and efficiently. We're going to upregulate the liver, the lymphatics, the kidneys, and even the gut so we can start mobilizing those toxins and then ultimately eliminate them and get rid of them. When we do this, this is going to reduce those side effects. This is where most people get it wrong. They jump into a detox and they have symptom after symptom after symptom, and they oftentimes get worse. And the reason they get worse is they're trying to pull this out of their gut, but they have nowhere to put it because their pathways, the drainage pathways, are not open. You cannot skip this step. The consequences of skipping this step is you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle symptomatically, and you're going to struggle with removing these toxins effectively. Now, when we look at Scripture tells us a wise man builds his house on the rock. That's Matthew 7:24. And so if we want success in moving in a positive direction, we've got to make sure that we're doing the basics, or the fundamental foundational process. We've got to make sure that's right. Let's look at phase two. We're going to build off phase one here. Phase two, we're going to work on things like the parasites, candida, bad bacteria. We're going to strengthen the gut lining and support healthy digestion. We're going to reinforce that immune system to help your body with fighting and recovering with what it's going through. This is going to continue the groundwork for deeper detox in that phase three and phase four. We're going to work on bloating, gas, inflammation, immune overload. Those are symptoms that we start to see reduce while we're moving into that phase two. Looking at phase three, this is where we get much deeper. We're going to engage in deeper detox, more aggressive detox. We're going to work on heavy metals, molds, other chemicals. This is going to get deep into the tissues like the fat and even the brain. This is going to support neurological detox, so we'll see more clarity, more focus. This is going to continue that promotion of cellular repair, which is going to lead to long-term immune resilience. And this is going to build long-term health because it's reducing our toxic load and it's restoring the balance that the body needs. Now, if you've heard this, right, you're listening to this, you're going to be in one or two camps. You're going to say, man, that sounds really interesting. It sounds like, man, I should consider this. Or you're going to be there and say, I don't think this is for me, right? And so we find ourselves at this crossroads where, on one path, that's going to continue to do the same thing. We're going to work on managing our symptoms, or maybe we're going to do nothing and just hope for change and hoping one day magically this is going to change. Or we're going to consider doing something else, right? That other path can lead to transformation. It can lead to healing from the inside out. It can lead to you reclaiming the life that you dreamed about, that you've always wanted about. But it's going to take a leap of faith, and it's going to take some level of sacrifice. You've got to be willing to make changes in your life if you want to get a different outcome. So what's next? Let's say that you're on that path and you say, I want something new for me. I'm tired of dealing with the same old symptoms. I'm tired of going to work every day and having all this brain fog. I'm tired of getting home at the end of the night and not having anything left in the tank for my wife, for my husband, my kids. I'm tired of not being able to be there for them because I don't have the energy to get through the day. If that's you, I want to invite you to the next step. If you're all in, we can order the Foundation Protocol and get that set up for you today. We can walk you through that process and help you step by step on that journey. And we're going to hold your hand through those phases and even after those phases. You may be having one foot on that path and one foot's kind of where you were, and you say, man, I'm just nervous. I'm worried. I'm scared to take that next step. I've done something similar to this in the past, but I really didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't under a doctor's supervision. I was just winging it. I was hoping that this would work out. I tried a few of these things, or I tried some binders in the past, whatever, right? If you're not 100% in, that's okay. But I do want to challenge you to take that next step, because if you're not willing to take that next step, you're never going to achieve what you want in life. You got to take that next step, or that leap of action, or that faith step. And so I want to encourage you, if that's you, just start with phase one. I'm telling you, if you'll start with phase one, the difference you're going to feel when you get more energy and you start opening up those drainage pathways is going to be enough momentum that you're going to do that phase two, phase three, and phase four. That's going to be the motivation you're going to need, because you're going to be able to tell enough difference in phase one that's going to motivate you and move you in the right direction. So if you're on the fence, start with the step one challenge. You don't have to be all in, but I want to encourage you to take that next step. You may be watching this video and be completely in a different state. We're here in Johnson City, Tennessee. You may be in Alabama. You may be in Georgia, Mississippi, Florida. And you say, man, that sounds great, but I can't come into your office to be able to do that. That doesn't mean that we can't help you. If you're not local, that's fine. We've got you covered. And so what I want you to do, if you're a remote patient or looking to be a remote patient, or you want to do this and you're in a totally different state, is take your phone out right now and scan this QR code. This QR code will take you to a sign up page. And when you sign up on that page, that's going to log you into our CellCore, think about our CellCore portal. And that's going to allow you to go through step one, or do the full foundation protocol. When you get signed up, you can reach out to us and we can help manage. We can see exactly what you need. We can guide you through. If we need to do a few assessments and tests and ask you some questions, we can reach out and obviously do that, for you. But take out your phone and scan that QR code and put your information in, and that'll allow you to get onto that website where you can go in and order that foundation protocol. When you do that, everything will be shipped to your house. Like, it's really, really simple. We do this all the time. And so a couple of things that I want to leave you here. If you do the same thing over and over and over, you're going to get the same outcome. If you want something new in your life, you're going to have to do something that you've never done. And so I want to encourage you to take that next step. Remember, your body was designed to heal. You need the right tools, the right support, and the right action steps. I hope you guys take care, and God bless.